How does your and your partner's past experiences color your perceptions of each other and of your relationships? It's important to do this with a spirit of curiosity and empathy. The chances are that neither you nor your partner are wholly in the right or wholly in the wrong. Both of you bring your own unique sensitivities to the relationship. Seeking to understand rather than to judge can create empathy and even compassion for each of your experiences. It can be helpful to think about your histories as the stories that lie underneath the conflict. If you're the more anxious person, you may be able to communicate to your partner, the story I'm telling myself is that you don't really care about me, and in the end, I'll always be alone. If you're the more avoidant person, you may be able to share with your partner, the story I'm telling myself is that I'll never be enough for you. It's best to have these conversations when you're not in the midst of a conflict, because when you're in the midst of a conflict, it's much harder to empathize and to think clearly. But being able to take a step back and understand these stories outside of a conflict, when you can both empathize and understand each other, can be a really important foundation for the next step. Step 2 is to map out the conflict. As you begin to understand both your own and your partner better, you can begin to map out the conflict cycle between the two of you. This can help to create some distance between you and the conflict that you're experiencing. Creating some distance between you and the conflict can allow you to look at it from the outside, and in so doing, you can begin to see each other as allies in solving this conflict rather than as enemies who need to fight each other in order to get your needs met. And when you begin to see each other as allies in trying to resolve this conflict, that leads very nicely into step 3, which is to de-escalate the conflict when it happens. Rather than trying to stop it entirely, accept that the conflict is likely to continue at least for some time. But by getting some distance, you can become more aware of it when it's happening in the moment and take a step back before joining the anxious avoidant tango. You can ask yourself, what can I do to alleviate my partner's fear and better meet their needs in this moment? That leads very nicely onto step 4, which is to change your behaviors. If you're the pursuing person, how can you value your partner's need for autonomy and freedom? Try to view your partner's independence as a genuine need rather than as a threat to your relationship. Express interest, support, and even admiration for the things that are important to them